I'm gonna record to mine as well so I can save it to mine, but it won't. Annie, did something change? The live stream button is, oh, because you're the host. You sneaky devil, you. Okay. All right. So here we go. Listen, whether it's military insurance, federal employee insurance, group insurance, whatever, right? Should you be criticizing the client? Should you be doing anything to make them feel like less than or any of their stuff or whatever, right? No, never, exactly. But, but, but it happens, right? But it happens. And so let me turn on my do not disturb first, make sure we don't get some like weird stuff going on. So this is new content, guys. So I literally made this morning. I woke up, I couldn't sleep. So worked out and I made a presentation for you guys because I love you. You're welcome. Right. So we're going to talk about a few different things today, all underneath sort of the umbrella of thinking about comparing it to somebody's group insurance. Okay. A little bit of a caveat here with these types of group insurance is the fact that you know how we always sort of say like, oh yeah, but God forbid like something happened to you and you're not at work, is that going to pay? Those sorts of things. I can tell you like beyond a shadow of a doubt that if someone is covered with SGLI, VGLI, or the FEGLI, which is the Federal Employee Government Life Insurance, if something happens to them and like not even just like at work, but they're like employed, actively employed, that death benefit is going to pay, right? In the military, there's what's called like a line of duty investigation, but trust me, I've done several very, very rarely. I'm talking like next to never have I ever seen someone denied a death benefit. Okay. So don't ever come back, like don't ever try to use that. Like that's just not something that's even valid in this situation. There are like weird isms where on like the federal employee side of things, if you're like furloughed or whatever, and it's been beyond 31 days, like there's a lot of just sort of like isms, but just in general, writ large, like don't fall back on that. Okay. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things today, but there's a lot of similarities. Okay. So first of all, stop trying to replace group coverage, guys. When you come at somebody trying to replace their group coverage, you kind of look like this guy, right? Now, just think about it, right? Are you buying, even if you needed that car, are you buying that car from that guy? No. But why? Why are you not buying from that guy? Anybody? You can unmute yourself. You can put it in the chat. I don't care. What do you think?
Looks
Because he looks like a
shisty.
salesman.
Yeah, looks shisty.
He's
Exactly, right?
ratchet.
Something
Ratchet.
just doesn't feel right.
Not credible.
There it is. That's the one, right? This guy's just trying to make a buck and he's just trying to move something along and there's no relationship, right? This is a transaction. That's what it feels like. Yeah, like he's going to take your money, Roseanne. Exactly. And so you're there to educate, guys. You need to remove your emotions and judgment from the situation, right? Because trust me, if you don't, you're going to end up like this, right? You might not be flinging papers in the air, but this is exactly what it's going to feel like. And it's going to feel very like, hey, you're being told something, right? And if you're telling, you're what? Put in the Zoom chat, you know, if you're telling, you're what? Combative. Okay, I mean,
Selling.
there we go. Selling. Thank you. It rhymes, right? It's almost like we did it on purpose, right? But you will get frustrated. You will be, you know, you'll go from like the combative to like, oh, why doesn't he just get it? Right? And then you're going to get frustrated. But listen, sometimes, even if you're right, you don't have to be. Let me say that again, because this might bless you in your like marriage and your life with your kids, right? Sometimes, even if you're right, you don't really have to be, right? Let them realize that you're right. It will go a lot farther and you'll be a lot better for it. All right. And listen, why do you think I'm trying to tell you this? You all would probably agree that I'm used to being right in a lot of situations. It just happens. And I can get a little bit like indignant about it. I can kind of dig my heels in sometimes, or at least I used to. Okay. Right? Yeah, Melissa would say I'm right all the time, Andy. Yeah, right. No, but guys, look, I there is one sale that I know that I have lost over the last 4 years, and it haunts me to this day because I was such a jackass about it. Because the guy didn't understand what he had going on. It was a military thing, and he even told me, he's like, dude, like one, I don't even really like want to change anything. He's like, but honestly, like I wouldn't have done it from you anyway after that. And I learned so much. I learned so much from that. And and to be honest, guys, like yeah, I know that's the reaction, right? Because but that taught me so much, right? Losing that, I don't know, 1200 AP or whatever the heck it was app taught me so much because it made me realize that, like Andy said in the chat, right? I was selling past the close in a lot of ways, and I wasn't freaking listening. I was there to show him how smart I was and how much more I knew than him. And it didn't matter, right? If they're teaching you something or you're coming across some sort of something new, play it off, right? Oh, wow, I didn't know that, right? And if you really don't, heck, look it up with them at the same time. I don't know, but being right sometimes just doesn't matter. Okay, so listen, you're there to educate. You're there to educate. And here's what most of you are probably going to like come up against, right? Like, oh, but but coach, their work insurance sucks. Their work insurance is it's so cheap. And now we're getting into the real like crux of the problem when it comes to trying to like combat group insurance, right? Because now you're in a lot of ways, you're sort of in this like term versus term sort of scenario. And let's be honest, can you really ever beat group insurance on price? In most cases. In most cases. No. So stop and quit trying because that's what most of you are doing, right? Look, if you walked into a store and you looked at something on the shelf and it was like ridiculously priced, right? Ridiculously priced, but right? But does anybody ever walk into like a Louis Vuitton store or Gucci or a Rolex, right? Do they ever walk in there and then they see the price and they go, well, I mean, I'm sorry, Lindsay, but you will, right? Imagine yourself, right? But but imagine you walk in there and you see a Rolex and it's, 10 grand, but you don't really scoff at the price, do you? Because it's a Rolex. It's supposed to be. So price is only an issue in the absence of what, guys? In the absence of what? I'm waiting for a very specific word. Two of you got it right. Three of you. Western custom. Because I don't know. That is not accurate. You might be right at a different trivia night or something, but for this specific example and this specific quiz, right? Price is only an issue in the absence of value, right? And so the value is what someone has to like intrinsically believe. It's their value. You can't instill value for somebody else. They have to perceive the value. And this kind of in sales, it goes to like understanding. Yes, Robin, I think we're recording in like three different places actually. I'm recording, Andy's recording, and it's being live streamed to the normal place. So the the value has to be intrinsically instilled with the client. And when it comes to sales, guys, it comes to a perceived need, right? Do you guys know like Wolf of Wall Street? You guys probably remember that movie, the famous line, right? Sell me this pen. You guys don't know that? Gwen the dragon does not know sell me this pen. Okay. Some of you do, some of you don't. Okay. All right, so think about it, guys. If I walked up to you right now and I said, "Hey, you want to buy a pen? Best pen ever. It's only $3. Writes upside down, writes in the rain, blah blah blah." Right? Are you going to buy it? Kathy says no. Right. Well, Kathy, what if I say now? Well, hey, I know I said it was $3, but now it's only $1.50. Well, one, I just reduced the value, right? Like I reduced the cost by 50% with no exchange, no nothing. But there it is, right? There it is, Emily. Not until you need it. It's just a pen, right? So you have to create, there has to be a need for something, right? And it's not that you're going to naturally just like create a need in somebody's mind for life insurance, but that's where the questions-based sales methodology comes from. You have to expose that. You have to expose that. You have to get them open to, you have to find out, right? But now, right, if I said, "Hey, Jessica, listen, I've got that check that I meant to send you, that $10,000 check. I just need you to sign it." Oh, you don't have a pen. That's that's terrifying. I mean, that sucks. Well, listen, I've got a pen, but it's my last one and you can't have it. You can buy it from me, but you can't have it. It's $20. Same stupid pen 3 minutes ago was $3. Now it's $20. But do you really care if you're about to sign a check for 10 grand and if you don't have a pen, you can't sign it? Hell, I could have told her it was $100. She still would have signed it. She still would have paid me. She still would have bought the pen. There's no value in the pen until there's a need. Okay. And so when you're talking to clients, that need, and if you depending on who you listen to in sales, right, there has to be some sort of pain point, right? There's a perceived pain, there's a need. And when there's pain, you go to the doctor, you get fixed, right? Well, when there's pain in sales, you go to someone that can solve that pain. But a lot of times, especially in this industry, nobody realizes that the pain exists until you expose it. Does that make sense? So back to the idea that you're there to educate. This is what we do, right? Now we're educating. So where'd my camera go? Lord, here we go. All right, you guys seen the lady with the purse, right? Okay, good. So price is only an issue in the absence of value. So that's kind of where like overall like overarching theme today, right? Like you sometimes you just have to like understand, and this is where we kind of get into. Andy knew I had to bring my cat in, right? Like this is just I can't go I can't do it. Like I had to find a reason, right? So listen, guys, your group insurance isn't yours, right? And I don't care where you work. I don't care if you work in the army. I don't care if you work at Costco. I don't care if you work at GM, right? It doesn't matter. If you have a group policy, generally, who's paying for the premium or the majority of the premium? Yeah, the company, right? And if the company's paying and the company's the policy owner, you get to decide who the beneficiary is, right? Because that's your right as the insured. But it's not your policy. You can't just pick it up, take it, walk away, and roll out. It's the company's, right? So, hey, Roseanne, listen, I love that you're working at Costco. You've been there for a long time. Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Are you going to work there forever? No. Maybe for a while, right? But like, oh, Casey, that's interesting. You just lost yours when you left your job. Okay. I mean, Roseanne, I don't know exactly how yours works, but can I tell you just generally how most group insurance products work? Awesome. Listen, so like when you leave there, when you leave there eventually, Roseanne, because you just told me you're not gonna work there forever, right? Give it right back because you know you just told me you're not going to work there forever. So when you leave there, what happens to all of your group benefits, like your health insurance and your whatever insurance and your, right? Yeah, it stops. And so, Roseanne, have you ever thought about what happens to your life insurance when you leave your job? Yeah, it goes away, right? Now, I mean, there are some provisions when it in certain companies and certain policies, not they're not all the same. Like sometimes, yes, you can transfer them, but the cost gets really high. Sometimes you have to prove insurability. So it's a medical exam, right? So all of these reasons are just things that I want you to understand about your life insurance at work, right? And so look, if it's paid for by your job, right? It's probably free or it's so cheap it might as well be. Am I right? Awesome. So listen, I would never want you to get rid of it while you're there, because if it's that cheap, why would you? It's basically free. Must have swallowed a frog this morning. Good Lord. So listen, but while you're there, like keep it. But we always advise clients, Roseanne, that when you work there, keep it, but you should always have something that's private that you own and control. That way, if you decided to leave there, you're not worried about your benefits. Does that make sense? And also, in a lot of situations, work group policies, those sorts of things, they have limited benefits. So maybe like 1x your salary. Does that sound about right? Right? Especially if it's free. And oh, by the way, if you like don't die on the job or you don't die in some sort of crazy accident, right? There's a chance you may not even get the full payout. Have you ever looked at that? Have you ever thought about that? That's crazy to me, right? Like your family's counting on that, you should have that money, right? And so, yeah, there's a good one. Yeah, have to actively be working so many hours. But here's another one, Roseanne. Like, have you ever thought about like if you just have 1x your salary, how long is that going to last your family? Like, God forbid something happens to you. I mean, kind of by definition, if it's 1x, it's like it's either going to last a year or less, right? And so think about like after a funeral, all those things. Now your family's got maybe 6 months worth of your salary remaining. Is that a position you would ever want to put your family in? This is ridiculous. No, of course not. And so that's why we would always advise clients, Roseanne, to have somewhere between, 6 and 12x your salary. That's just like the Dave Ramsey advice that you told me you listen to, right? Guys, these are things you kind of just keep bringing back up. That's why we tie in the Dave Ramsey stuff and that sort of thing. So now on to the actual like military insurance, right? And so whether they're in the Marines, the Coast Guard, whatever, if they are in the Department of Defense and they are an active service member, this is their life insurance. Okay. You can reduce them in increments of 50,000, but the max coverage that you can have is 500,000. Okay. These are the 2026 rates. It was more expensive when I was on active duty. The rates do change, right? They fluctuate. Rarely do they go down, but in this situation they did. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, $26 a month. That's it. Right. And that's maxed out. That's your 500,000. And here's just some of the like caveats about that, right? So there's no medical exam. You don't have to apply for it. It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't care if you use nicotine. It doesn't care if you've got all the diabetes, right? It literally doesn't matter. The rates are flat. The rates are the rates as long as you're active duty. Okay. And it's only the active duty service member. There are spouse and children provisions, and we'll get to that here in a second. So this is a clip straight from the SGLI page, right? You're an active duty service member, and then all of the like different things, right? Like so cadets, like so Evan's going to go to West Point, he'll have this ROTC, right? Engage in authorized training and practices, reserve, National Guard, volunteer, IRR. If you're in a non-pay status, you may be eligible, right? Uh, there's a bunch of different things. This is only where it gets a little weird with the SGLI and like whether it would pay or not. But again, in most situations, 99% of the time, it's going to pay. God forbid something happens. Okay. So that's while they're on active duty. When they leave, right? When they leave, they move into, oh, it went the wrong way. Hang on. Lord, well, the link works. So here's the family side of things, right? So we have the active service member covered. There is a spouse component. I put these in here. Now, the cost is also like next to nothing, right? But the max coverage for a spouse is 100 grand. And these do change by age, right? And it just keeps going. It doesn't get that expensive, but the max you can have is 100 grand, and those go in increments of 10,000. Okay. As the spouses get older, the cost goes up. But again, it's like I think the max was like $9 or $10. It's nothing. And that's for like in your 70s. And that's going to be very rare. So again, automatic acceptance. It does have a variable rate, and it's only based on age. It doesn't care if you're a man or a woman, nicotine, none of that. But it is 100K max, and it's only your married spouse, right? So none of this like, yeah, it's my baby daddy, that's my baby mama. No, they have to be married. They have to be, in what we call DEERS. It's the I don't even know, but it's basically like the human resources program for the military. I can't remember what it's called. So you have to be eligible, right? There is a conversion option for a spouse, like say you get divorced or whatever, you can convert that. You don't have to answer medical questions, but you are limited, and it's only for the 100K, right? So you can't increase it. There's nothing extra on that. And then kids are not convertible, meaning there is no like conversion if you separate and that. Thank you, Apollo. You can't convert it for kids later on. There's no transition for kids afterwards. If you're still on active duty and the kids turn 18, if they become a full-time student or they're disabled, then you can keep that 10K in coverage. But kids are free, right? Kids are free. But they're only covered up to 10,000. And then there's no guarantee later. And then when you separate, right? So like I retired. Melissa lost her 100 grand in coverage that the military gave, and then all the kids lost theirs through the military. Right? But I already had the kids covered on my child rider from when I did my policy because it made sense, right? Because it made sense. Any questions on this before I get into the next two? These ones are pretty straightforward, right? The next two are the ones where that's where you're really going to like find like comparing and competing and trying to like show value before someone separates. Because I've had a lot of people ask questions like, oh, well, my guy's in the army, whatever, and he's got a 500,000. He doesn't see the point. Anybody had that before?
What about I think Noah too, a great way to do it is what about so you would agree, just like so Ford, the motor company has incredible group life insurance too, just like the military. Would y'all agree this is some pretty good benefits for the military, as they should be, right, everybody? Okay. So who can unmute themselves and give me a couple things that you could show value in a value gap of just what he's showing you right away? Because yes, they've got all this stuff. Yes, it's incredible, but what would be a couple areas very quickly that you could show more value in with a client? Anybody have any ideas?
You lose it
I
once
have
you're in
a
the military.
What's that?
You lose it once you're not active.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else?
Living benefit.
Living benefit. That's good. Anybody else?
there's a 100K max.
What's that?
100K max, she said.
Yeah, for the spouses, correct. That's very good, Casey. Yeah, very good. Okay, anybody else?
The
A
terminal
child
illness.
Child rider, right? That's good. But
full
again,
premium.
yeah, that's good. But the child rider, you got to think too that you're asking people to get more life insurance on their kids. That's right. That's sticky. Right. What about like Noah's highlighting only active members, married spouse, right? How about this one? Right? Without going back a page, Noah, who can tell me what is the maximum coverage the military will give you?
500,000.
500.
500,000. Okay. What is all the experts, including us at Primerica and Dave Ramsey, talk about that you should have as a life insurance benefit? What's the
10 to
good
12 times your annual income.
10 to 12 times your annual income? So Noah, when people are newer in the military, what's the average income? I don't know.
I mean, like lower enlisted, you're probably looking at somewhere between 30 to 50. And so you're kind of in that range at that point with just your SGLI. But if you're an
Right.
officer and you've been around for a minute, right, you're
But
probably
as you
looking.
go up, right, everybody. So that's the other thing is you're looking at getting over coverage, right? And getting that value gap because you got people that, as they've been in the military, know it for you, I mean, how much were you making at them through the military before you left?
Between all of it was probably about 150.
150 grand a year, right? So that times 12, y'all, that's 1.8 million. So is no overinsured or underinsured?
Under.
right? Okay, so I think that's a very big thing to remember there is the maximum you can get is 500,000. Most often you could use a quick mobile FNA to show somebody that they're underinsured very quickly. Also, the spouse guaranteeably is underinsured, right? Okay, and that's a great thing. Sorry, no, I just want to kind of remind people that's important.
No, it's good. Thank you. Thank you. So this is the big one, right? And like I made this table because I can show you on the like actual like VGLI site. It breaks it down by like $10,000 increment coverage by age. Like it'd be impossible. So I just yes, I'm a nerd. So I built this. These are accurate, right? It was the same for 2025 as it is for 2026. I always I just highlight this column though, because when you're thinking about VGLI, right? So the Veterans Group Life Insurance, this is after someone retires, after someone separates, right? You don't have to retire. You're automatically eligible just from being in and then separating. Okay. But this is usually the age bracket range where we're looking at doing some sort of like comparison, right? And I mean, like to be completely transparent, right? I'm 44. I kept my VGLI. Like I started it and got it going. One, because if you take it immediately after separation within 210 days, no medical exam. You're guaranteed, right? You can't be declined. But if you take it after that, you're you're like in the same boat as anybody else and you're going through the medical exam and they can decline you, right? So I took it. Why? Because for a half a million, it's $70. Okay. Well, even when it goes up next year when I turn 45, it's only 95. Hell, even at 50, I still have options, right? So like I personally, I like options. I like options because if I decide I don't want it later, I'll get rid of it. But I could turn 50, right? And it's $145 a month. Guys, there's so many things. Like I could have like all kinds of cancer. Like God only knows what I've been exposed to, right? But I have options. And if I get to there and I'm like, okay, well, 6 years from now, $145 probably won't matter to me. Well, it kind of doesn't matter right now. But like I would rather have that. But over here, I might get a little squishy about it. Like, definitely not looking to do that, right? Oh, by the way, because all the way until I'm like 71, I've got a half a million that is not going to change in price on me because I did it before I had all of my stuff in my medical record, right? So just things to think about. Yeah, and these are monthly rates, guys. These are monthly rates, right? And we'll get into some of that here in a second. I just wanted you to kind of see this, but think about this. Who in their right mind at 70, if they still want the half a million, is going to pay $1,000 a month, especially if you're on a fixed income? Nobody. Now, options, right? Like you can always reduce it. You can always bring it down. So yeah, you can, right? That and those are options as well.
So let's show this a couple things really quick. This is also in band. So Noah posted the rates. I know they changed up, but he posted this in band. Okay. But also who can unmute themselves and tell me a great question. If you sat across from somebody like this and they had a VGLI, what would be a great question you could get to use them to get them to move forward or use on them to get them to move forward with a primary or look at a primary life insurance policy? Anybody have good any good tie down questions? What would you say to the client?
Mr. and Mrs. Client, are you comfortable with paying $1,000 a month for that same life insurance?
Good. Right. What's another one? Anybody else?
Would you be open to looking if I could get you the same coverage for a longer term
I
for
would
where the
stay away
price
from that
doesn't
because
turn?
that's what Noah just talked about. I love that Noah said options because you're also looking, you get back into the sticky waters of replacing
Mhm.
group insurance, replacing what's cheap right now, right? Everybody. Also, Chuck, you're gonna ask yourself into a corner on that because if Noah's 44 right now, a half a million from us is going to be more expensive. So you're talking about replacement, and then you go to quote it, and we're more expensive. You're screwed. You're out. You get it, everybody? Okay. Who would have another question? And it's good. It's good. But you all see that? Yes and yes. That
Mhm.
if Chuck says, would you be open to me getting you more coverage, the same coverage for cheaper? And then you quote them, and it's not that, you're up shit's creek without a paddle. right? The biggest thing you there is options from Noah. That was so good. I was getting ready to mute myself, Noah. But you want to give your client options. Like Mr. Mid-Client, looks like you're all set for right now, but let's be honest. If we could get you some options, so later on in life you have the option to pay 1,000 or not pay 1,000 for the same amount of coverage, is that something you'd be open to taking a look at? Make sense? Great. If we could get you something in addition to this, outside of this, to get you some extra coverage and kind of bump you up a little bit, but also the term or the it's a level term where your payments don't change for the next 30 years. Is that something you'd be open to taking a look at? Make sense, everybody? That's exactly, Chuck, what Noah was just talking about, team. Most people know you're a billion percent right. They have to like mentally, they're trying to replace, trying to replace, trying to replace. 99.9% of the time with GLI, VGLI, and group life insurance, I am not replacing anything, right? Like it's in addition to, and you're giving them more options. Sorry, Noah.
No, you're good. You're good. And so, guys, it's like, hey, listen, Roseanne, I love that you have this coverage already, and I love that it's so cheap right now. Would you be open to looking at something that isn't going to change in price on you for the next 25, 30, 35 years, depending on how long you want it to stay the same, right? Did you know that what you have right now is going to get more expensive every 5 years? That question is the one, guys, with this sort of thing where people go, no, because I didn't know. I found out on accident. I was using some stupid like military retirement calculator. I was playing with like different courses of action. Like, am I going to retire now? Do I want to stay 3 more years? Do I want to like, bup? And I found it on accident because one of my like courses of action kept me in the military until I was 45. And I only found it in accident, like in the calculator, because my VGLI showed me that it was going to get more expensive. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell? Right? What the hell? Yeah, VGLI is the only thing that changes. So remember, SGLI is the same no matter what. You could be 57 and on active duty in the military and still have your SGLI, and it's only going to be whatever the, $20 a month or 25, whatever it was. So VGLI is renewable term, meaning the price goes up, right? Let me go back just so you can see, right? This one is flat, level, nothing changes. Doesn't care how old you are, right? Doesn't care man, woman, nicotine, tobacco, diabetes, only got like one toe, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yes, SGLI is when you're on active duty, right? Which is why it says active military, right? And then spouses are under FSGLI, right? For active military spouses, right? Words have meaning, right? That's why I put them on the screen. And then VGLI is for retired, right? So after the military, but not just
So let's
retired,
look at
but
the letters, right? S is for service. They're
mhm.
actively in service.
And that's the
F is
names
for
too.
families of service, active service members, and V is for veterans.
Yep.
Sorry, I gotta simplify it for myself. We
No,
got
you're
some
good
special.
for sure, right? So veterans group life insurance. And again, it doesn't have to be retired. It's just you served and now you're out, right? Somebody could serve like a 4-year term enlistment and then they're out, right? The rates still apply. It doesn't matter how long you were in. Okay. So here's some words. So just definitions. VGLI is guaranteed. Like you can't be declined, but you have to accept and put the policy in force within 210 days of separation. Okay. Your max equivalent or your max coverage is equivalent to what you had while you were out on active duty. Because remember, not everybody has to have a 500,000. You can dial it down, right? Like, let me jump back. Like, you can take it down all the way to 50,000. But if you keep it at 50,000 and then you separate, well, the max you can have in VGLI is whatever you had while you were on active duty. Okay. You can't increase it later. Just so you know. Oh, it's gonna take this stupid thing. I just did it again. Well, hey, at least I know I did the links right? I clicked them and then they work. So all right, so max coverage, right? 5-year renewable term. It increases in cost no matter what, right? There's no like locking it in, there's no level, nothing. Also, it does not cover the spouse, does not cover the kids. This is only for the service member. VGLI is really not cost effective when you're comparing it to a level term policy over the life of the policy. Okay. And so my recommendation to all clients, military clients, obviously, is that they need to, like, at a minimum, get their policy that's going to replace their SGLI 18 to 36 months prior to going through that separation process. That is my guidance, like at a bare minimum. Now, that's not saying they can't have it now. They should probably have it now, especially if you do a mobile F&A and we find out they're underinsured. But the reason that this matters is because when they separate, speaking as a guy who was in the Army for a long time, right? We lie to the doctor so that we can keep doing our job. There are things I didn't want in my medical record because it probably would have grounded me, right? I wanted to keep flying. I wanted to keep going, doing cool stuff. And so we just don't tell the truth to the doctors within reason. And so, but when you go to separate, then you tell the truth. Then you get all of that documented because that's how the VA treats you later, right? You make sure it's like service related. It also goes into your disability claim. And so my medical record when I retired went from, normal to volumes because you'd get every little like bump and bruise documented so that way it builds up your claim. Okay. And so Roseanne, let's be honest, right? You're pretty healthy on paper right now, right? But when you go to separate from the military pretty soon, you're probably going to start telling the truth, right? Yeah, and you're going to tell the doctor everything, and you're going to get all that stuff in your record. And so imagine what it would look like on paper, Roseanne, from looking at you right now on paper to like after you're separated and trying to get a underwriter to approve you. Kind of hard, right? Doable, right? I've had buddies get approved, but I've also had a lot of buddies get declined because what goes in their medical record? PTSD, depression, anxiety, sleep apnea, some sort of TBI because they probably got blowed up somewhere, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes in. And now you just keep racking it up, right? And so those are things, it's kind of like a court of law, right? It's not necessarily what's true, it's what can you prove. And whatever's on paper is what we can prove. And so that's where, look, if I get you covered now and you have it, they can never take it away from you. Just don't miss the payment. Sound good? Right? They can't take it away. And that's kind of the point. It's just like your health insurance, right? If you come into health insurance with a pre-existing condition, are they going to likely cover it? Probably not. Well, if you come into a life insurance application with a whole bunch of pre-existing conditions, the odds of you getting approved, right? You never know. So that's why you want to lock it in as early as you can because you're as young and as healthy as you're ever going to be, right? So this is a new one. Well, it's not new, right? It's literally the largest group life insurance plan in the world. Literally, like 4.5 million people, right? But this is FEGLI, right? That's how you say it. If you know someone on federal service and this is their life insurance, right? Group life insurance, but FEGLI, federal employee group life insurance. So very similar to the way the SGLI and VGLI work, but this one is variable, right? It's based on your age, it's based on your income. There's options built into it. There's way too much stuff going on in this to really, I mean, like I could spend 2 hours talking about this, but just know that like option A is like the basic and the minimum is 10,000 and like the normal though is like one extra salary. It's fairly cheap until you're 35 and then after 35 it changes in price every year and then it gets real expensive after 45, right? Option C puts your family on there. There's ways to cover your spouse, your kids. Again, expensive, right? Prices change. And when you move into retirement with this, like you retire and then want to take this into retirement, the cost is madness. Madness. If you were going to keep the coverage the same, right? And so, look, I've had people tell me, no, I'll just stick with FEGLI. Okay, right? I didn't do a good enough job of explaining the future cost. Guys, look, what is known is comfortable. And that's kind of where most people land. And it's honestly why a lot of people don't ever leave federal employment because it's cushy. They know exactly what it's going to be, right? Whether they work or not, they're getting paid in a lot of situations. You guys have all probably walked into some sort of like bureaucratic place, and there's like an old lady. She wears the white shoes. She kind of runs the place. She doesn't really do a whole lot, but you can't get rid of her because she's a federal employee. You can't. Trust me, I've tried to fire him. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And it's a comfortable place and people just get sort of like stuck in that. And until you can show them, most people won't change. And so that's where like just getting exposed to this on the FEGLI side, like I will bring up something really fast to kind of just as long as it's still there. Let's see. So I ran like just this was just like a quick scenario of mine. Like had I transitioned to military or from the military into federal employment, right? My my assumption was that I'd have made about 170 grand a year, give or take. But then when you retire, there's reductions and there's all sorts of other crap, right? But look, this is what it would have cost while I was retired to keep the same amount of coverage for 5x my salary on top of that. That's insane. Are you kidding me? 740 bucks a month? That's nuts. And so, but like again, this is like complicated. There's a lot that goes into this. There's tables and it just goes and goes and goes and goes. But look at this. Just look. Look at the cost. This only went down because they reduce your amount of federal life insurance that you can have. There's like a reduction thing. But then the prices jump way back up, even though the coverage is going down. Every month your life insurance goes down by $6,800. It's decreasing term. But instead of it decreasing every year, it decreases monthly. It's nuts, guys. It's nuts. And so I just wanted you to see this, but like again, the whole like FEGLI thing, you could probably write like a doctoral thesis on all of the things that are built into it. Um, so options range in price. It's all based on age and the amount of coverage and the options that you have selected. You can carry it into retirement, but the prices go crazy, right? Especially when you hit that like 50 and then 55 mark, it balloons. It's bananas. It is a great thing to have when you're young because it is relatively cheap. But again, it's still limited. You cannot have more than 5x your base salary. So you kind of get back into that same situation where, hey, listen, I love that you have this, and for right now, it's great. But you would agree if you can only have 5x your salary and we need 10, maybe 12, you are probably slightly underinsured.
The other thing is too, everyone's got to focus on, you're doing such a good job with all this stuff, and I appreciate your leadership above and beyond everything. Don't have to stop, share, or do anything weird. But you guys got to realize is we're not replacing stuff, we're giving them options for later. Make sense? A lot of times it's going to be sticker shock when people find out that their thing is going to blow up to $7,000 a month. You know what I mean? Like, and they're already uncomfortable because they were unaware of that. And now to get them to take something else that's new,
Yep.
they're not going to move forward, right? You want to put them at ease. You're okay, I'm okay. Like, hey, listen, definitely understand that. Let me ask you if we could get you something that was locked in, but also gave you some options outside of this, so you've got some time to look it over and feel about it, and you're covered no matter what, almost like a spare tire. Would that be something you'd be open to taking a look at? Getting something small, get them in the door. Make sense, everybody? VGLI, FEGLI, SGLI, DAGM, group insurance. I'm always just trying to get them something small, get them in the door. Make sense, everybody? We're not replacing this stuff. Because I'm telling you, there a lot of times, no, it's sticker shock. They shut down because it's overwhelming. I literally was going to text Melissa. I've heard Noah say at least 7 giant words in the last 3 minutes, and I'm like, I don't even know what these words are he's saying. Like I'm going to start recording you, okay? Right? But it's like you don't want to overwhelm people. Makes sense. You don't want to sell past the close. Makes sense, everybody. You don't want to scare people away. You're not replacing. We're giving people options.
So good. So good. And guys, that's really what it's all about, right? And so that's the last slide for that. Man, we had almost 50 people on this morning. It's good. Questions. Now, this is not like personal time, right? Like this is ask a question that's good for like everybody kind of thing. What do you got? Anybody? Anything you need me to like re-explain, anything that wasn't clear or might be a little fuzzy? What's up, man? Go for it. Oh, you were there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't see you anymore, but yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I wanted to hit on something you guys said because the fact that I retired from the military also, all these things are very familiar for me. And I think the other key on why you want to point out that you're giving options is there's a lot of nitnoid details that service members can go into about ways that they can get even more money if certain situations are met. And it's a giant can of worms that breaks people's brains. Like we referenced the living benefits. If I was a soldier still active duty and I was in a coma for more than 30 days or hospitalized for more than 30 days, that number jumps dramatically.
Yeah, it's
And I
called
can even
Paula,
get
it's
my
called
full,
selling past the close. And that's what a lot of people do is we even like us all sitting here together as a team this morning learning all this information. How many of y'all learned something so far this morning? Right? We get all this information, we get all this knowledge, and we come from a place of a good place where we want to help people, we want to inform people, we want to protect people, we want to save people. Did y'all agree with me on that? What happens is you get diarrhea of the mouth and you dump information dump on people over and they're just like they shut down.
yeah,
Sorry.
yep,
Yeah, I mean, we're all guilty of that, right? Because and it's human nature because you get something new, you learn something new, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I gotta tell everybody. And then you sit down, and
hmm
the first person that you sit down with after you learn something like this, God help them, because you're about to like blast, and you're not gonna stop talking. And I wanna caution you, even now that you're armed with all this new information, do not deviate from the script when it comes to the tie downs and everything that's built in, right? You have to find out if they need what we do in the first place. And so that's really the big one, guys. Everything that Andy has built when it comes to the questions-based approach is all based and grounded in factual, like sales. I mean, I remember texting Andy like a year and a half ago, like, bro, I did not realize how much of a genius you actually are with the script and everything. Because it's all designed to force the client to admit to you that they don't have a plan, they don't have anyone managing their money, they don't have an education in money and finance, and that they need a plan because planning, right? Like not planning, failing to plan is planning to fail. And we all know that, like, you guys know where I'm going with this. But unless you actually say those words and ask those questions and get them to admit it out loud, it's not real. It's not real, especially to them. They just feel like you're selling them something. But when they actually sit back for a minute and they go, oh my gosh, you're right. I never thought about it like that. Guys, please make sure you're sending clients and recruits the financial house video. I sat down with a client yesterday. As a friend of Melissa's. Melissa's been talking to her for like a year. Fork is in the follow-up, right? Finally sat down with me and she goes, oh my God, I watched that video, Noah. I've never even thought about what like a financial independence number would be. We've been with Bank of America and Merrill Lynch for, ever, right? I think I got something in there. I mean, I don't know, but I said, hey, that's okay, right? That's what it was for, right? And we'll get into that. I'll show you what your financial independence are. I can do that for you in about 5 minutes, right? She goes, what? I said, yeah, it's simple, right? The software does it all for me. We're just gonna talk about a few things. Like, but guys, like that's when you just sort of make people feel comfortable. I said, but listen, I'll probably be honest, you probably a lot closer to the number than you even realize. She goes, I don't know. I don't know. I said, well, we got another 30 years almost. Right? It's okay. We got time. We got a lot of doubling periods. Remember that? The rule of 72 from the video? Because now I'm referencing something. She's anchored to it. She goes, yeah, I remember that. Listen, we got a lot of doubling periods left. I think you're going to be surprised. guys, we ran the numbers, right? Her fin is about 6.2, right? With everything that they've got going on and everything that they're doing, they're going to be at about 5.6. I said, hey, look, you're not exactly on the number, but I don't hate it. You're pretty dang close. I said, if you got there and instead of being at 6.2, you're at 5.6, do you think you'd still be okay? She goes, oh my God, yes, but I didn't think it was even possible. I said, I know, but it's powerful to see it, isn't it? She goes, yeah, nobody's ever showed me this before. Like I had life insurance here, there. I got like 401ks all over the place. I said, don't worry. We're going to take care of all of that. We're going to fix all that for you. She goes, oh my God, I just want it all in one place. I said, perfect. That's exactly what we're going to do for you. But all of that comes, right, from asking those questions along the way. One, like from the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up, guys. Like the sales statistics that Andy sends out with the red line sales statistics, I think the bottom one is like 81% made somewhere between the eighth and the 12th contact. That's what it looks like. That is 100% what it looks like. Not all the time, right? But often. And so that's why one, it never stop reaching out to people, right? If you think, or if you haven't sat down with them, you should. If you think they're all set, they're not. On the surface, anybody would have looked at that family and said they're all set. Clearly, they are not. They've quite literally got about $250,000 spread out in 401ks all over the place, and they're not in control of any of the money. It's madness. Madness. Because they're just like most people, right? You work here, you go to the next one, you leave it. You work here, you go to the next one, you leave it. Nobody tells you to roll it over. People don't have like IRAs already set up that they can transfer that into if their next place won't accept it, right? But that's where we come in, and that's where you bring value. Okay. We got 8 minutes. I'm gonna give you all of it. What do you need? What do you want? Andy?
Nothing. We're good. I'm gonna find that video and put it out there, or that graphic, the sales things. I'm proud of you guys. I want to thank Noah publicly in front of everybody for his leadership and always helping out with the team. I know it's not easy to wake up early, prepare this stuff, and be presentable and teach you guys that he doesn't override you guys. So I want to publicly thank him for that. But in addition to that, listen, we got the reset going on. Make sure you guys go earn that. We're not doing 15 resets. This is it. Last chance. Okay. Last chance to go get it done. On top of that, we've got a big opportunity for us to not get mad, get better, skill up the scripts and stuff like that. Super important, Noah, like you were talking about. What happened there was you were realizing, Noah, no, everything is like gears, and it all works synergistically together. And when you start changing the script, and you're off here, and things like that, you start losing teeth or gears on your gear wheel. And eventually down the road, it doesn't, you're just sliding and it's not working. And you don't know why you're not getting the same end process. That makes sense, everybody? The scripts are very important. I know a lot of you aren't script people. I wasn't a script person ever. Anyways, I told Ian Bruckner, the guy who's making $1 million a year, all those fastest in company history, to do it in person. He did it in just under 10 years. Okay. I told him the same thing. I'm not a script guy, yada, yada, yada. He's like, dude, it's not about the script. It's about why it works and how it works. And you need to understand, if you're getting people that aren't moving forward, a lot of things that are off in the back end, if you get a lot of recruits that aren't moving forward, orientations, client appointments, stuff like that, the further you are off in the back, it means the further you are off in the front. I promise you, you have to follow the system. It works. Okay. And those people, what you see, Noah, is you'll see trends of the business. Noah's getting he's earning his flight wings here in Primerica, but you'll see trends of the business where people come on, the ones that are the right ones that are super excited, they're brand new, they don't know any better, they're green behind the ears. All they know is to follow the system and do it exactly like they were told to do. They explode. They come on, they go off, they're independent, they have great numbers. Then what you'll find is, as further time goes on, their numbers, income, and everything else starts to trail down. Behind that, then their mindset goes down and they start trying to change other things. I promise you, it's because the longer you're in this thing, the more things you start to change. Like that's literally it. Like that's why Art Williams, one of his famous things he always said was, the trick is staying excited. Okay, very few people can stay excited as long as it takes. Everyone can stay excited for a couple of days, right? That's when you're brand new filling out your IBA. Few can stay excited for a couple weeks, even fewer for a couple months, couple years, and very, very few people can stay excited for as long as it takes. You got to stay excited and stay on the course and on top of your game, y'all. Everything is here for a reason. We've got the great system. You've got to run it. You got to get behind the wheel and drive it. You got the reset right now. There is literally, Noah, not going to be an easier month for you to build your business. Your brand new person coming off the streets can go out and do one by one and make $350. 3x3 is going to get them to a 50% contract. They're going to be making $500 an appointment forever. It's going to pay them $1,000 training. People at their jobs don't make $1,000 a week. They can do it on a Saturday, right? 5x5 right now is going to pay people $1,600. And oh, by the way, get them reset to possibly winning a free trip for 2 to Colorado, airfare included, and a beach retreat. Like, sweet mother of Jesus, y'all. Like, you got to move. And the trick is to, if you're excited about things, your people will be excited about stuff. Does that make sense, everybody? If you're not excited, your people aren't going to be excited. If you don't think you're going to win, your people aren't going to think you're going to win. If you're not going to East Coast Builder School, you're damn sure your people aren't going to East Coast Builder School. If you haven't got your ticket, you can't be mad at people for not getting their tickets. Make sense, everybody? I promise you, all this is a system and everything synergistically works together. And the one thing I always remember my mentor teaching me when we were coming up in the business, Ian used to always say, you change a couple things, it doesn't seem that big of a deal, but down the road, 6 months later, 8 months later, you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole and you can't figure out why it doesn't work. It's because you're off by this much, right? We've got to get back to the fundamental skilling up and taking action, y'all, okay? The simplest things like don't sell past the close, run a questions-based presentation. We're not overstimulating people, information dumping on people. Make sense, everybody? Right? We've got a great video tool. Ruth Ann was asking me yesterday, just so you all know, nobody cold calls your people. If your people fill out a survey that says that they want products and it's got their phone number, stuff like that, it'll be directed back to you. If the leader can't find who it is, it'll get put in the leadership chat. But y'all need to know nobody else is calling those people. And what a great thing, Noah. You're 1,000,000,000% right. That's the system I run because every recruit, they come in thinking, if I worst case, I could use this myself. It's a no-brainer. And then in the script, it says, best case, it works out. Worst case, you can use it yourself. Great. They're like, yeah, perfect. Makes sense, everybody? Then we have them watch it again at the orientation. And then it tells you what they're interested in. Makes sense, everybody? I promise you, it's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You got the activity. You've got to get your activity on the calendar. Okay? Grant Cardone, my Uncle G, says white space on the calendar is the devil. I promise you. Fill it up with type in IPA in the Zoom chat. Income producing activity, y'all. It's Wednesday. The number one thing, you should be running recruiting appointments and orientations by now. You should be going through all of your issued policies right now and scheduling deliveries for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Why? It's a great opportunity to get in front of a client, build a relationship, ask for referrals, talk to them about a Roth IRA or a Dadgum Legal Shield, getting a will set up. Make sense, everybody? Ask for referrals. Bring up the recruiting opportunity, right? Clients are available on the weekend. Schedule those right now today. Setting up, the biggest thing is one-on-one. Type one-on-one in the Zoom chat. Look at my lights flickering here. That's super exciting. So type in one-on-one in the Zoom chat, okay? Okay, listen, y'all. You've got to be setting up one-on-ones with all your people. Don't worry about the 70 people that give you an excuse or won't get on your calendar. Worry about the 7 people that do. Those are who you got. Make sense, everybody? It's kind of like the meeting. Apollo, we could recruit 15,000 people a month, but if only 150 show up on a meeting, I got 150. A leader is going to tell you they're a leader, Noah, but if they don't make it a point to come to East Coast Builder School and they haven't come in a year, are they really the leader? Great. And it's about changing your heart posture on that. I'm not mad at them. I'm grateful for them. Thank you for showing me you're not the one. Apollo, dude, look, I have no idea where you freaking come from, who you're underneath. Great freaking beard on the Wolfpack meeting with your camera on, presentable, knowledgeable, and engaged. I'm not trying to worry about the people that tell me why they can't do something. I'm trying to find the ones that ask me how they can. What a great business system where somebody else out there in the wilderness has recruited Apollo and brought him into my business. Isn't that crazy to think about, Apollo? What an amazing blessing we have of our opportunity. And some of y'all need to tell your face. Like, I guess some of y'all got the worst RBF in the planet. Y'all know what RBF means? Okay. Don't forget the system, y'all. Recruit to recruit. Make sense? I'm not trying to convince somebody. If they're trying to quit or get squirrely or whatever, I'm going to get them a couple more recruits before they're gone. God bless America, because you know what? One of those idiots out there knows a Jessica Powers, a Noah McQueen, a Luke Casey, an Abby Schaffner, an Apollo. One of them out there knows a daggum Roseanne. How many of y'all, I know it's 901, but you also know I don't care. How many of y'all had somebody above you that's quit the business? Anybody? Just generally anybody? Anybody? You had somebody above you quit the business? Thank God I haven't quit yet. No, fun fact for you, I'm not going to. You'll never be able to say no. But above me, there's people that quit, right? Do you guys know the guy here, not Nate Braley, but let's end with this, not Nate Braley or Ian Proctor. Ian Proctor sold his business. Do you guys know the guy that recruited Ian Proctor never got his license? And Ian did the math one year. And does anybody listen to this? If that guy just would have got his license, does anybody, he did the math on this. Look at this. Does anybody want to know how much money that guy would have been making a year if he just would have got his license and done nothing else, just generally? He'd be making $700,000 a year if he just would have got his license. Thank God, Assad Faraj, I bet, thanks God every day that guy recruited Ian Proctor before he left. Would y'all agree with me on that? Y'all, you are one recruit away from an explosion, and I promise you, it is not going to be your next recruit. Go find him. Go get it done. Go get reset for the trip. Yes, yes, y'all. Go in this Wolfpack chat and thank Noah because that was an incredible meeting. Thank you, Noah, for your leadership. I got to go. High five.